Shalom, this is Nitza Moshe with Remnant Radio. And tonight I have Bonnie Harvey from Oregon. Is that correct, Bonnie?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I know that Oregon and Washington just come together right there, so sometimes I'm a little confused. But you are the coordinator for the One Nation Sukkot, which is basically taking the Northwest Sukkot and combining it and uniting with Hebrew Nation Radio Sukkots, correct?
Yes, absolutely. I'm very excited about this.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
This is my favorite time of the year. So, why don't you tell us about the unification and the coming together for this and what we've got planned?
Well, I have been trying to work with Hebrew Nation Radio for the last couple of years. It just hasn't been the time, I guess. And this year, after I did Youth for Yeshua, and I had to go to California. Youth for Yeshua ended at noontime on Friday, and I had to be on a plane by 2:30 in Portland. And during that time, I just thought, you know what? I feel so driven to contact Cindy and Dawn of Hebrew Nation Radio once more and see if this isn't going to be a go. Because I really think that we have such spiritual visibility with each other that it almost seems as if this, was what is one of the givens that should be. I mean, why should they be 10 or 12 miles from us? So
Right.
anyway, I approached them once again, bless their hearts, and they came. Cindy was just very eager. She's always been very eager. So they brought their board of elders up to Canby, and we had a wonderful meeting at Canby. Canby loves us, bless their hearts. I love them too. And they even offered to put out lunch for us and to have a special prayer meeting with us before we took a tour of the grounds with all the elders. Anyway, one of the elders couldn't make it, so we just had to go with a discussion beforehand. And then we toured the grounds. And the elders were just blown away. I think that they didn't realize that how much there was available at Canby. There are everything from motel private bathrooms down to dry camping next to a river on a big field, and having the tent sites tucked away in the forest. They did not realize how much was there. And to take a look at the tabernacle, which would seat 1,000 people, they are refurbishing that, I think, for us. I think we're a big, I mean, of course, other people use it, but we're a big driving force, I think, behind that because we've outgrown Mount Hood and we need something larger. And they put on a new roof, they're putting in new insulation, they're putting on doors, a new audiovisual system. And I kind of think I've always felt that it can be. Um, was special in Father's eye because, 4 years ago when I started doing this, or 4.5 years ago when I first started planning a Sukkot, I asked Father where it should be. And the only facility, and it was after Shavuot, because I kind of made it dependent upon the ability of one national speaker to kind of be spearheading it and to kick off the maiden voyage of Northwest Dakota. And I said, Father, if you don't give me this speaker, then I will interpret that. My time is not ready to go because at that time there were hardly any Sukkots and there was nobody on the what I consider to be the restored calendar of the Aviv search, and then watching for the sliver in Jerusalem, just like they used to do it. Nobody was doing that, especially nobody in this area. And Anyway, that was what prompted me. And when I started my search, there was only one facility. I called every Christian camp in Oregon. with the dates that I needed. Now, this was after Shavuot. So, within 4 months, I needed to block out 8 days and no camp in Oregon. And plus, I thought I needed a capacity of at least 250 people. So that I went through, I made lists, and I called for 2 days. And I had already gotten, as soon as one facility, learned who I was, i.e. Messianic, not mainstream, they denied me access to that campsite, which is heaven sent. It would have been a nightmare. Because it was so far from the airport. Lovely facility, but I mean, just the logistics of getting speakers in and out would have been overwhelming, and people finding it would have been overwhelming. So anyway, I after that I thought, okay, Father, it's up to you. And this is not going to be easy. I need it now, and I need somebody who will, be easy for the Messianic, little subculture that we have here.
Right.
We don't eat pork. We honor a Sabbath day. All that stuff. But would they be, favorable? Would they look upon us favorably? So anyway, I called everyone. The only site available in the state of Oregon meeting those parameters was Canby Grove. So I called up the fellow, and I said, and I didn't even know how to, introduce this concept. I said, I need a Christian group needs to come in this fall between these dates, and is the facility available? And he said immediately, this sounds like a feast. I said, oh, yes, it is a feast. It is. It's the Feast of Tabernacles. Are you familiar with that feast? He said, well, why don't you come on in and talk with me? So that is almost 3 hours away. I live right in the center. I mean, if you put your finger right in the center of Oregon, that's where I live. It's in the Bend area, on the east side of the Cascade Mountains. So I had to go over the mountains and go up to Canby, and I'm thinking, okay, praying all the way, because, I didn't want to be kicked out again, and I was getting kind of desperate, thinking, all right, you gave me the speaker, Father. I'm thinking, that this is a go, but I'm totally dependent upon you. And, when I drove up, I sat in the car saying one last prayer, and down the sidewalk comes this man with a beard, with tzitzis, and I just knew he was Messianic. And I said, Father, you have sent me. I don't know how many Messianic managers there are of Christian campgrounds in the country, but you have sent me to one. There's one right here. Anyway, he bent over backwards to accommodate our group, and it has been that way ever since. Canby has just been a Messianic home. International here. I mean, they're with the program, and I mean, Shelley emailed me today. She already has the dates for 2013 blacked out.
That is awesome.
It is.
I will have to say, the food is excellent. It's kosher. They even have a chef's school there. They're starting up for people who want to learn to be chefs and serve in ministry. We've got people at Shebrew's that did the mikvah with us, and it's an incredible place. Yeah. And it can accommodate, the camp or the RV, the primitive tent, and then for the elderly or those who prefer the lodging. So it just has this wide range of abilities to serve the people, and I think that's exciting.
It is that there's a facility like that which will bend over backwards for our group. They say that we are their favorite group, and now, as you say, 3 of their members have been mikvahed by Messianics who work on the in the facility, at the facility. And I mean, every year we do this, it just gets easier and easier. It's just amazing, the relationship that the Messianic group between Cindy and myself, because Cindy has Shebrews there. I have Youth for Yeshua there, and Sukkot, and now we're having our combined Sukkot. So it has just been a wonderful experience, and I do believe that when Canby was, 2 inches from the grasp of being owned by the bankers, that I believe Father stepped in and saved them. For many reasons. One of them being, that we would not have any other place to go. This year, there will be probably at least 600 and maybe more, not 800. I don't know where I would take that many people. I just don't know where I would take that many people. So Canby is essential really to the Northwest large Sukkot venue. It just is essential, and they have just stepped up to the plate. They know perfectly to read the ingredients. They know perfectly to get chicken sausage with vegetarian casings. I mean, they bend over backwards to accommodate us. They help us with joppa. Right now, everybody wants to come, and we're having huge groups coming. I mean, 40 people from Arizona, 20 people from the Indian reservations here in Central Oregon. And, a lot of these groups have no money. And Shelley just, said, okay, at minimum, these people are going to cost X amount of dollars. And tomorrow, when when we hash over some of the final plans, it's going to be my request that Shelley, would you split this with me? People must get here. Is it possible to split this bill or somehow? And I know that Shelley will work with us and try to, accommodate us, as with everything she can. So anyway, it is a wonderful, it is providential really that Canby is there and run by such wonderful people.
Well, that's good. Tell us where Canby is. Canby Grove Christian Campground, right, is next to Canby, Oregon, which is about 15-30 minutes north of Hebrew Nation Radio in Salem, correct?
Yes, it is. It's about 25 minutes north of Salem. It's about 25 minutes south of the Portland International Airport. It is off the I-5, probably 8, 9, 10 minutes. So access is really easy. One of the beautiful things we have about Canby is that we can take the mikvahs there because it is covered on, it's covered on 2 sides anyway with, I believe it's the Malala River. And we can just jump in there and take our mikvahs for any festival we want. For Shebrews, there is a big crowd for mikvahs. For Sukkot, last year we had at least 3 separate mikvahs, and that is the mikvahs. I think are my favorite time because we put them into the water 7 at a time, and we just go down the line, and everybody gives their testimony of why they want to be mikvahed. It is just. I wish we could televise it this year. I take a video of it. I should do that because it actually is the sweetest. It is the sweetest point of Sukkot when people get in the water with their hearts melted, with tears streaming down their faces, with couples unified, with families unified, with the carnality, at least for, half an hour, 2 hours, an afternoon there, all just washed away. And I just pray that they keep it that way, all of us. But it's a beautiful afternoon.
That was definitely, I think, the highlight at Shebrews that was held there.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
That's for sure. Can you give us the website for this Sukkot so people can get more information?
Absolutely. It's one word, One Nation Sukkot.
And that's Sukkot, that's ONENATIONSUKKOT, correct? .com?
Yes.com. Yes.
All right. And so tell us, who are our speakers this year? Who is coming to share with the
Well,
people?
by popular demand, we have Halissa Alawine returning with us this year. She was the most powerful, humble lady last year, but she melted hearts. She melted hearts. I know personally some people who were new last year. They had been dragged in there by their families. They listened to Halissa. She made everything so clear with her kind, humble, informative demeanor that, I mean, one of these ladies rushed out to get a mikvah at the mikvah time. We'd already had all the mikvahs we were going to have. Last year, Halissa came at the end of the week. Halissa was so powerful. I mean, the ruach was moving upon the people, and I got up and I said, I just feel being moved by the ruach that we need another mikvah. So and I asked the next speaker who had already spoken. He was a local fellow. I said, "Would you mind if we took your spot for a mikvah?" Absolutely, could do it. And we had the biggest mikvah of the whole week. And one of the ladies, I know she is a member of a family that comes to our weekly Shabbat congregation. She was there and she had been pulled in there kicking and screaming. It was finally just, okay, I will go. Stop nagging me. And she got mikvahed. And she comes every Shabbat. I mean, just a beautiful story. That is the power of what Halissa Alawine shares. It is all themes through the menorah, and she is just a completely regenerated heart speaking. Just a delightful speaker, very calm speaker, but you don't want to miss a word when Halissa speaks. And
right. Yeah, she's very gracious.
Yes, very gracious lady. Then we have Bill Cloud coming. And Bill Cloud is just a kind, loving, informative. He's always has something new to say. And I look forward. I don't know exactly what he's going to say this time. I just know that I have heard him on more than one occasion, and it's always a joy. Then we have two firecrackers coming, Nahemia Gordon and Keith Johnson, and they are coming. Nahemia has a new book out of the Shema, Deuteronomy 6:4, and something about that has been kept. The full understanding of praising our Elohim truly has been revealed to him. So I'm eager to read his book here. I'm going to buy his book. I'm looking forward to hearing him speak. I heard somebody else that got a book, got Nehemiah's new book, and they read it and they said they broke into tears 3 times. In fact, they said they had it on a plane, but they couldn't read it on the plane because they didn't want to sit on the plane crying. And that was a male who said that. So he's going to be there with his new book um, and speak. And Keith is going to be there. Keith has a whole new teaching. His new teaching is Time Will Tell. These two men recently traveled to Israel to make certain regarding the certification of the sighting of the new moon in Israel, because it was going to be so touchy. It would have been possible to sight it last Monday, but the illumination was only 3.58%, which is very low for a sighting, and the degrees off the horizon was only like 6.5 degrees off the horizon, which made it very low, very faint, and visible for a very short time. So Keith has this secret place where he goes in southern Israel near Eilat. And I think he's gone to, I don't know where, I think it's Mount Hezekiah, or I'm not certain the favorite mountain he likes to go to. And he said in 2004, I think, he was the only one. It was only from this mountain in Eilat, which is way southern Israel. It is the desert, away from the lights, away from any contamination or air particle. Particulate matter in the air, that it was seen, and he took a host up there, and it was seen, of course, by many more than 2 witnesses. But anyway, he went back to that same area thinking that it would be a very, very, very difficult sighting. These men risked their lives. They met the IDF. The IDF intercepted them. They said, you can't go where you want to go. That mountain is closed. If you go any further right now, you're going to get shot out, because the Egyptians are right over there. And here these men are. They're climbing the hill, with their camera and their shofars, because they want to herald the Feast of Yom Teruah, the Feast of Trumpets. So the IDF said, go to that mountain instead, and we know you're here, and we will see if we can protect you. And they had previously been said by the IDF spokesperson, we cannot guarantee your safety in that area at all. But anyway, the soldiers...
Bonnie, let's take a break. Let's finish that story. We need to take a break, okay? We'll be right back.
Absolutely.
You're listening to Remnant Radio on the Messianic Lifestyle Audio Magazine broadcasts, Lamb Radio.
I am in love with a man who
You're listening to Remnant Radio on the Messianic Lifestyle Audio Magazine broadcasts, Lamb Radio.
I am in love with a man who plays.
Welcome back. This is Nitza Moshe with the Remnant Radio Hour, and we have Bonnie Harvey discussing the One Nation Sukkot to be held in Canby, Oregon. Bonnie, you were telling us the story about Nahemia, Gordon, and Keith Johnson and their sighting of the new moon over in Israel. You want to continue with that story?
Yes, I will. Yes. Well, they were told by the IDF liaison to not go to the area at all. But I'll back up and tell you a small miracle, nonetheless a critical miracle that happened before that. Keith and Nahemia they arrived, I'm not certain how early, but they went to Eilat earlier on Monday. They realized that Monday would be the earliest that the moon could be sighted. And they went down to the beach in Eilat. And evidently Keith had the car keys. And in the process of whatever, they could not find the keys. It was time to leave. It was time to go for the sighting. It was time to go find a mountain to view the sighting, and they could go nowhere. They did not have any car keys. And they looked for an hour. Keith finally got in the sea. I guess it's the Sea of Aqaba there. He got in the sea and he dunked himself. And when he came up, he said, Father, we need those keys. Will you please give them to me? He walked out of the water, went exactly to where Keith had been looking not 10 minutes before, and he found the keys.
Awesome.
He said they were not there when they had looked before. Then they traveled to the mountain. On the way, as I said, they got intercepted by an IDF jeep, telling them they were about to get shot. And I don't know if they must have altered their path. But it's interesting in that exchange, the IDF officer said, "That's an interesting shofar you have." And Keith had his big kuru shofar, one of these big long ones, and he said they gave us these ones, and he showed him this short little ram's horn, this little itty bitty one, and it kind of made almost a toy sound. And then he blew Keith's kuru shofar, and he admired it, and he said, "We need this. We need this for soldiers."
Mm.
Keith said, "It's yours." And he
Wow.
said, "Oh no, I give you this." This is kind of how Keith said it, and he gave Keith the little ram's horn that the IDF had issued to those who wanted shofars. So anyway, Keith took the little ram's horn to the top of the mountain where they did the sighting, and he blew his little ram's horn, but it did not. And the IDF troops are out there blowing his kuru shofar, and may they be blessed. And but anyway, there was no shortage of energy, even though they didn't have the big kuru shofar. There was no shortage of energy as they danced on top of the mountain as the sun was setting at dusk, and just praised Father with just the greatest of excitements. I mean, hooting and yelling and punching the air and bantering back and forth. It was they had such a wonderful time of celebration up there on the mountain. So that, and then the word went out on Twitter and Facebook, and that the moon had been sighted. So anyway, that hailed the first day of the 7th month. So now we are certain when the Sukkot will be. It will be as scheduled. It will commence at sundown October 1st. And up until then, the camp. Now the camp, this is where the camp comes in. The camp, I told Shelley it can be any time during this week. And I told her a bit ago, it's really going to be a little bit tenuous this year of whether it's one day or the other once we knew the Aviv. And so I called her back shortly before this, and I said, it almost looks, before we knew the sighting, and I said, it almost looks tenuous after I refreshed my memory as to the degree of illumination, the percentage of illumination and the degree above the horizon. I said, this looks really tenuous, Shelley. She said, it's okay. I know you by now. I have penciled out the entire week and a half for you folks. So if you need to leave on Thursday, that's fine. If you need to leave on Friday, that's fine. So that's where having the camp be flexible with us, that's where it comes in so handy, because we would have had to start on time. We would have had to start on the 1st anyway because of Nitza, because she's doing her entire program and she needs those whole 4 days. She needs to leave on Friday to be back by Shabbat into Kentucky. So
well, isn't Halissa also doing some kind of certification program?
Yes, she's doing her entire program. She's doing a certification, and if you want to be a part of the certification, they can go to www.thecreationgospel.com, and they can get the materials ahead of time. They need to read through the materials ahead of time. Once again, that's www.thecreationgospel.com. And yes, she will be. Those who come to Sukkot can walk away with the certification in the teachings of the Menorah program. I think it is the Creation Gospel program.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
awesome.
we're very happy then to welcome back Nahemia and Keith, getting back as to who's there. And then we're going to have some new people at Sukkot also. We're going to have Grant Lutton, who is a Torah teacher online, plus his own congregation. He is broadcast online in Ohio. He has a congregation in Akron, Ohio, and he was a teacher for 30 years. He did a year in England as a Fulbright scholar, and he is a pianist, and I'm not certain what he's going to talk about. I would imagine is something about the Torah. He is primarily, I think, a Torah teacher. One of his internet listeners emailed me and said, he is wonderful. Is there any chance we could have him, please? So anyway, he's willing to come. Then we're also having Brenda and David Matthews. David, of course, they have been leaders in the Manna from Heaven ministry in Missouri, I believe,
No,
for
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm kind of like you about Washington and Oregon, Missouri and Mississippi.
Yeah, we're
Aren't
going
they
way south on this one.
Aren't they one state?
Well, they start with an M. Put it that way.
That's right. They both start with an M. But they're gonna. I hope they never hear what I just said. He was the a pastor at Manna from Heaven, and he has been in the ministry for over 30 years. He is going to be speaking with his wife Brenda, and they of his wife of 20 years, and they have 6 children, 3 still at home. And he is also going to be our head elder at the camp. And then we have another firecracker, Brittany Scott, who, whenever she speaks, you just need to get your tablet out and just take copious notes, because she goes quickly and she goes in a very dense fashion. So she's always just spewing it out. There's just no grass under this. I want to say girl. I mean, she's only 25 now. I'm a grandmother, so to me, she's like, I have children older than you are.
But one of the things I find fascinating about her and her family is, I believe Dave Matthews has been her pastor since she was very young, about 3 or 4 years old. And so she grew up under his tutelage, really, and is just dynamite.
Yes, she is. In fact, she was the youth leader at Manna from Heaven in Mississippi. And she is now also going to be the youth leader at One Nation Sukkot.
Oh, wow.
Lots of talent, lots of life, lots of fun, and the youth will love her. And the youth have always had male leaders, at least, at least in Northwest Sukkot and at Youth for Yeshua. A lot of most of the leaders have been male. So this will be nice for the girls of the Messianic community to, have visibility with a female leader. So I'm really looking forward to having Brittany serve both as a speaker and as a youth leader.
That'll be awesome. Well, I think it speaks a lot too that, the congregation and her family have been with David for such a long time. I think that's kind of unusual that congregations stick together that long and work together that long.
That's right. Mostly you hear about fracturing. They go here for a little bit, and they go there, and then they don't like that one and won't work with that one. Or, some of that I understand, but that did not, seem to occur in this congregation. And David's leadership David and Brenda's leadership must be very special.
Yeah, I think they have a lot of integrity.
Yes.
So you also have someone taking the younger children.
Yes, I do. We have Mrs. Noah will be back 3rd year in a row for the children 6 to 12. And then I have a college girl who is taking early development. She is going to be a leader, as she and her grandmother are teaming up to be the leaders for the 3 to 5 year olds, or the 2.5 to 5 year olds. And then Hebrew Nation Radio is the ladies there are going to get a babysitting for the very young children. And we will publish that as soon as we can. And the hours of the various programs. And we also have some exciting music this time around. Howie and Alin thought that they would be able to stay in Mishkanim, they thought they would be able to stay in the Northwest until after Sukkot, and they were planning to come, but they had to go back to Florida, and now they're going to be serving at a Florida Sukkot. But we have Sue and Brian Samuel; they're coming, and I look forward to that. That'll be very special. And we are of no shortage of talent locally. We have Dorcas Smith,
Dorcas,
who is she's a professional singer, and she is going to come and help us. We have the One Nation Sukkot band that played last year a lot. This time we're only going to we have so much talent that I can't I need to squeeze it in. And we have the Lombrosos. Now the Lombrosos have just put out their second CD.
Oh, cool.
And we have Sue Samuels. We have Chad Bourne Zytek and Caleb Arkey. And they are a wonderful local talent. And we are just chock full with talent here. Between and Rollin and Angie Betts, also from Hebrew Nation Radio, are going to be serving in that capacity, serving with the music ministry. And some of these groups, I've heard the Lombrosos. Oh, what energy. He gets down, he gets off the stage, and he takes his guitar, and he gets right in the middle of the dancers. And he likes to be right in the middle and right in your face. He'll go and he'll sing right into the faces of those seated, and just listen a lot of life with Patrick Lombroso. And
that's awesome. Let's take one more break, and then we'll have to come back and wrap this up. Okay. One more break.
You're listening to Remnant Radio on the Messianic Lifestyle Audio Magazine broadcasts, Lamb Radio.
I am in love with a man who plays.
Shalom and welcome back to the Remnant Radio. We have about 6 minutes, Bonnie, to wrap up. Who else you're going to have at the Sukkot? We've covered the children's ministry. And did you talk about the dance?
The dance. Dan and Sylvia Calderon were called to Texas with her elderly mother. So we have a couple from Hebrew Nation Radio, and we also have Ralph Sita coming. Ralph is a professional dancer, and between the three of them, they are going to lead the dances, and they're also going to prepare each of the age groups, including adults, for the final performance on Shemini Atzeret, as has been the custom here at Northwest Sukkot, now One Nation Sukkot. One thing that I would mention, Nitza, is the fact that One Nation Sukkot and Kimberly Rogers of Ozarks Wilderness Endurance were the organizers of the Shalom Wave, which will occur on Wednesday morning. Actually, it was Laura Densmore and Kimberly Rogers who got this together. It was their idea. And we are going to Skype in, and we're going to have video. Hopefully, Father works out all the technicalities here. And we are now being joined by Gary Caps's group, Monty Judah's group, Steve Mutria and John Sherman, the 119 Ministries from Costa Rica.
And when will this be?
This would be Wednesday morning at 9:30. We're all going to gather.
Which day? What date? What Wednesday?
Okay, let me see. That would be October 3.
October 3rd, okay.
Yes, Wednesday morning, October 3 at 9:30 in the morning. We're going to gather in the main tabernacle and await our opportunity to blow shofars and to wave to the other Sukkot groups that want to join. They cannot join with us physically, but they can join with us in unity of brotherhood and spirit, and in wishing each other just abundant shalom. So
Yeah.
that is that. Yes, it's going to be a beautiful thing, and it's, our theme is the gathering begins, and it begins right here, because I mean, at this point, we can only do six at a we can only do six connections at a time on Skype. So, I think it's going to be, we're turning people away. I understand.
Yeah.
And just
But
saying,
I think
or
technology will catch up with us, and we'll be able to add to that, surely in the future. One question is: Hebrew
yeah,
Nation, is this going to be put on Hebrew Nation TV live? Do you know?
I believe so. Yes, yes,
Okay,
they're
so
taking everything. TV, Hebrew Nation TV and Hebrew Nation Radio.
okay, and you're also going to have Tony Dabich there, who was the wonderful tambourine lady that was at Youth for Yeshua.
Oh, yes. I would encourage everybody to go to the website onenationsukkot.com and read Tony Dabich's miracle that happened at Youth for Yeshua. She submitted this paper. She wanted it to be known how Yehovah blessed her and blessed the youth. Do we have time? I'll just highlight it.
Yeah, let's go back that just a minute. So I
Okay.
just wanted to cover a couple other people I saw on the list.
Oh, okay.
You have Victor Costu from
Yes.
Canada that's going to be joining us, and he's going to be doing, is it spiritual warfare?
Yes, that's his talk. That's his talk.
Okay.
Spiritual warfare.
And we have Hezekiah Haas. And
Yes,
do you know
we
what
do.
his topic is?
I don't think I know. I
Okay.
don't know if it's in there, but I'll have to get
right.
with Hezekiah.
All right.
But
Well, let's just cover a couple of these names real quick. We
Okay.
got Peter Bissinger. Is it
Yes.
worth it to endure to the end? I see we have a
Interesting topic, huh?
Yeah, we have a soap making class by Judy Osmer. Is
Yes,
that correct?
yeah, she's
Yeah.
canceled. So
Oh,
that
okay.
but Laura Densmore is going to go into her spot. I'm
Okay.
in the process of redoing the schedule.
Okay.
We're also going to have Ron Finstein. He is what a treat. He had been on, and then he was taken, and then he had to be taken off, and now he's back on.
Oh, hallelujah. I was
Yes,
so glad
yes,
for that.
yes.
People are just really missing a treat if they don't get to see
Yes.
Coach Ron.
Oh, and he's going to give a demonstration during a talent night, after Sukkot is over, at sundown, October 9, and we go into our Let Us Entertain Us. He's going to do a demonstration, and his demonstrations are just not to be missed.
Right. Those are very powerful, mixing grace and beauty, strength, and nobody wants to miss that.
Yes.
And I will be talking. I have the blessed opportunity to do that.
Yes.
So let's go back to who you wanted to speak about, Tony.
Okay. Tony came up here. She's been an instructor for 20 years. She was invited to teach here. She said, no problem, I will be there. But her garage was being renovated, so everything was in boxes. She had labeled everything very carefully, but when she got to the storage facility, she realized that the movers had placed all the boxes, stacked them up, and none of her writing was showing. She could not find one tambourine to bring with her, and she knew that she would have 40 students. She only had 12 tambourines, so she arrived at camp with 12 tambourines and 28 plastic red plates. And she handed out all the tambourines, and the kids were good about it until they realized that they were practicing for a Friday program for the parents, grandparents, friends, for a Friday show later in the morning, and they kind of were not happy about doing their tambourine if it's a red plastic plate. So Tony said, not a problem. I'm going to pray. And I am going to trust Father that He is going to give me what I need. And she told the youth that Father would provide. Well, when we were at the river, and we were gone for 2 days, And during that time, she was unable to come up with any more tambourines. She had 40 kids and only 12 tambourines, but she decided she was going to put tambourines in the front row and second row and on the sides, and then hopefully she could hide it. And to my surprise, there was not a murmur of complaint. Wow, something happened at the river, I thought. But then 20 minutes before they were to put on their demonstration, one of the musicians came and said, "Tony, remember Sunday I mentioned that I'm an artist and I paint tambourines?" "Yes," I said, hanging on her every word. "Well, I have 40 painted tambourines that you can use."
Oh, awesome.
At that moment, I knew why I had been unable to bring the tambourines and why none had been available for purchase. It was in God's plan all along. I gathered the youth and blurted out, "I'm so stoked. God provided." And he gave them, the youth went on to give a performance that brought tears to the eyes of their families. Beautiful ribbons, spot-on timing, complicated patterns of jingle jingle, energy that only youth can exude. One grandma, realizing that the dance was training for fighting in the spirit with the whole armor of Elohim, sat and sobbed, and the youth learned that Yehovah provided the best for us. Anyway, that is her. It goes into more detail on the website. It's just a if anybody is down and they need a cheering up, they must go read that.
Well, it was a very powerful demonstration, and I think from a worldly point of view, it was kind of, to me, comparable was when we were growing up and we went to high school and we had baton and the different teams that would do things, but this was a team of youth that were using the tambourines in choreographed motion, like you said, like marching, etc. And it just came together as a powerful thing that they were doing it for Jehovah.
Yes.
And it was just really incredible to watch. And I was amazed that she did that with the youth in just that short period of time.
That's it. She only had like 3 lessons with them. That's it. It's amazing what she did. And she'll be there at Sukkot. We'll have a fabulous time with Tony Dabbich. And she is just the dearest. Isn't she just a gracious, beautiful lady?
Yes. And she comes from Southern California. So
yes, she does.
And this is what's really exciting. Sukkot is growing worldwide for Joseph, basically.
Yes.
And one thing I noticed last year at Shebrews, the thing I came back with, which really didn't seem related, but it was that nothing is going to stop Joseph, Ephraim, Israel to grow, to get ready to reunite with Judah. And I saw some amazing steps moving forward between Judah and Ephraim at the MIA conference and what's going down in the Southeast this summer, last month. And so it is very exciting that hearts are softening and people are agreeing to disagree and come together. And it's getting exciting because now we have all these other groups, and it's a very small world when you get out there and start traveling amongst the brethren in the Messianic Hebrew groups, because you'll meet someone who knows somebody, and it's getting smaller and smaller as we notice that we're one nation, yet we're growing larger and larger.
Yes, well, praise Father, may it be so. Just grow us all and unify us all. Yes. And purge the ones that are not in it with a completely regenerated heart. Either purge them, or may they seek a truly regenerated heart.
Yes. And I always thought Sukkot's our very favorite for the family. That's basically our family vacation for the year. And the reason we started with that first was it was just in our spirit that in the last chapters of Zechariah, that we thought when we got to heaven, we were going to do Sukkot, and we needed to know how to do it and be ready. And of course, over the years, we've realized, no, this is a future fulfillment and prophecy that's going to happen here on the earth.
Yes.
And so,
yes,
it's very exciting. And so also for those of you out there, because I've heard this a lot of people are not going to Sukkot, or they don't have anyone to celebrate them with. And we just pray that you will be blessed, and Father will meet you where you're at. I know he will. He's done it for us when we were in the wilderness and didn't have others to celebrate with. And it can be a lonely time, but I think just as simple as camping either outside or on your floor in your house, and families getting together, or just individuals that just press in and recognize this is an appointment and a moedim that Father has set. And one day he will bring us all together so that we will have that fellowship and be moving in one spirit. And is there anything else you want to give out that website again before we leave, Bonnie?
Sure. One Nation Sukkot, SUKKOT.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Bonnie. Is there anything else you want to say before we say goodbye?
Shalom to all. Shalom. Hugs to all. Please get together with a Sukkot group, even if it's just family camping, and it is so important. The curtain of the planet is closing. Please, for your own safety, get with a Sukkot group. Honor the feasts.
Amen.
That's it.
Thank you. Shalom.
Thank you, Nitza.
Thank you, honey.
Shalom.
Bye-bye.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.
Commander, on вышел в зону России в 6 часов 0 минут. Запада от Волгограда, ближе к Казахстан границе.
I think there's been some sort of mistake. You see, I have a very busy night tonight.
Заткнись! He was found attempting to hide in a chimney. Chimney? Печная труба? Да. What were you doing in the Russian airspace?
I've already told you. Ho, that was naughty.
We found a list of names.
Ah, my list.
These are American spies.
No.
Who is little baby Jessica?
Well, I've never met her personally, but I'm sure she's a very good girl.
There was also a second list.
Oh, you don't want to be on that list.
We'll plan to kill these people.
No, they just got a bad present. It used to be a bag of cold.
We intercepted communication assets. Dear Santa, stop. I have been a good girl. Stop. I would like a Sylvanian family cozy cottage starter home. Stop. This is clearly code.
No, it's not code.
Then who is Santa?
Well, that's me.
You said your name is Father Christmas.
Yes, I'm known by very many names.
So you are a spy.
No, look, if you could just let me on my way.
Tell us about your fighter plane.
The sleigh?
It does not appear on the radar.
Well, you see, it's actually quite magical. You see the reindeer and then the...
Tetris!
Oh, now there's no need for that type of language. You're setting a very bad example to little Titania and Vasily.
How do you know my children's names? What are you doing in Russia?
Presents! I deliver presents!
Presents. For who?
Well, to all the children in the world.
The children in the world. In return for what?
Well, nothing.
Nothing. So, you are communist.
Da. Why do you think I wear red, comrade?
Comrade, 2 vodka, 1 cookies and milk.
It's good to see you, comrade.
Don't go away, your show will start after a brief pause.